like an imaginary friend. This is getting to the point where it's like this kid's got a fucking brain tumor. There's a problem here. You know?
Okay,
Mr. Dorrance, you're not here right now.
are
Mr.
you done?
Dorrance.
Can we move on?
Okay.
Really, you don't have kids, Des, really? Huh?
I'd smack that fucking kid and blow a butt in his face. Live from the D&D studio in downtown Boston, it's showtime. Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely little co-host, Lynn.
All work and no play makes Des a dull boy.
Never. And joining us again, the podcaster with a degree in terror, Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
Tonight, we will be discussing the 1980 horror mystery movie, The Shining, written by Stephen King, directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, and Scatman Crothers. We were saying that this is more of a psychological drama, I think. Thriller, psychological thriller, but we'll get into it.
See, it's right on the edge, man. It's hard to call it a thriller when there's just so much terror on the screen. And the feeling of dread is just one of the thickest ever.
It really is. There's so much to unpack here. Okay.
So palpable.
As always, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen The Shining, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple, please leave us a 5-star review. It really helps the show. We appreciate all comments on either platform. And if you know someone that likes movies, please tell them about the show. Let's try and spread the disease. Next week, we will be discussing Vacation, the original, with Clark W. Griswold, with Mickey and Tony 2.0. Easily one of my top 5 favorite movies of all times. And I spent the whole summer learning every single line with a neighbor. So there you go.
That was last summer.
No, it wasn't. Okay. Also, we have opened up our merch store finally. So we have got merch, and that's going to be for our sister podcast, Violent Vinyl Radio, and for this podcast, Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie? You can find the link on our Facebook page, or you can go to vvr.printify, printify.me. Do it in lowercase, and you'll have more luck. Over there, you may have already checked it out, but since then, we have updated the designs. We've got some really cool designs for VVR. We've got some cool shirts, bloody handprints, heavy metal horns. We got some coffee mugs going on there, and we just did a new design for the Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie shirt and coffee mug that is a play on Reservoir Dogs poster that I think came out pretty fucking cool. So there you go. Get over there.
Yeah,
and check
as of right now, if you did buy something, everything has gone out. You should be getting your stuff within a few days.
Yeah, and for the first run of t-shirts, if you get a shirt that, maybe doesn't look up to snuff, give us a break. We're still ironing out the, the details of getting shirts made and making images and what looks good and what doesn't. So, first run, no guarantees, okay? Just give us a break, okay?
There'll be collector's items.
They will be yes, they will be collector's items. Get them now, exactly. Okay, let's do
that super janky shirt will become a collector's item.
Exactly. Let's do some opening thoughts on this one. I'm going to get us started. So this classic movie really hit home for me. Takes me back to a time when I was just 12 years old. My mother had taken a job watching a closed old hotel in Gloucester on an extremely secluded road that was pitch black at night. No street lights, no houses, just this creepy old hotel with literally nothing around. I believe it was called the Oppenheimer. Anyway, My mother was dating a guy in Boston, and I would be left alone in this creepy hotel for up to a week at a time for an entire year, sometimes longer. And it was horrifying. There were naked statues in the main entrance with a big black piano and a giant fireplace. There were weird bathrooms, one I'll talk about later in this podcast. And of course, the numbered doors. And I stayed in room number 8. And there were weird tunnels in the basement and a metal forging shop with all sorts of sharp weapons and metalworking tools hung on the walls in the cellar. And the top floor of the hotel was closed off. But I would sneak up there, go through the rooms. It was the scariest place to be, especially at night for a young child. And to add to this living nightmare, there was a super rich kid whose father was an ex-NFL player that lived about 5 miles up the road in a beautiful mansion. This kid would ruthlessly bully me and beat me up on the regular for the entire year that I lived there. At first, I tried to fight back, but he was too strong, and it just made things worse. The beatings got more and more severe. So I started getting off the bus like 5 stops from my bus stop, and I'd sneak home from there, trying to avoid the bully waiting for me at the stop and the inevitable beating that I would take almost every day. Well, an older kid that went to school with the bully, that school would get out a little before ours, giving them time to meet me, to beat me. He asked me why I started getting off the bus at his little brother's stop now and not my own. When I told him why, he was so outraged that he rode the bus home with me to my stop. And the bully was there waiting. So Donnie, the kid that came with me, told the bully to knock it off or else. The bully, who I will not name here because I'm still afraid of him, challenged Donnie to a fight. Donnie kicked the shit out of this dude. And it was when it was over, Donnie had him down on the ground with his fist raised above his face and asked him if he would stop picking on me. And the bully simply said, "No, it's just going to get worse now." A passing woman broke the fight up. And Donnie took me aside and said to me, "I did what I could," and he left. The bully got up and stumbled to his BMX bike and rode off. The ass kickings got worse and continued every time I saw this kid until we moved away. So that's my story. Tony.
That was really long.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Well, that was a record time therapy admission. Wow, we got right to it today. Jesus. It started out really, really good. And then I'm like, oh, we're going there.
Yeah, true story. True story. It was a horrible year of my life. It's one that I'm still traumatized by today.
Is the hotel still there?
It's not an active hotel. I believe the building is still on the land site, but I do not believe that it is a operating hotel anymore. But very, very scary, very, very weird. Just not a place you want to be at 12 years old alone on this pitch dark, windy road in the middle of the woods. It was fucking terrifying. Fucking terrifying.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, it was the early 80s, fucking late 70s. I was already smoking cigarettes. Okay. Tony. The Shining.
Where do I go? I don't have any child trauma that brought me that I could relate to, but
what, you never took a job watching a hotel at 12 years old?
I have to say no.
I didn't even get paid.
That was part of my upbringing, you know.
Okay.
I mean, this movie, I would be lying if I said I loved it when I first saw it. I mean, it came out in 80, around the same time as Halloween. It was Friday the 13th. Like, I was a slasher kid. I grew up a slasher kid, so this was way too slow for me. You know, I love the blood. I love the elevator blood. I love all like the iconic scenes you're used to. But there was way too much between it as a kid. Once I grew up, holy fuck. Now I understand. It's a masterpiece. And I know that, I'm sure we'll get into it, the fact that King hated it and it was reviled and but it's one of the most terrifying, iconic, beautifully acted, shot, scored,
casted.
Everything about this movie can be discussed for hours, and I'm sure we will to a point, but I mean, I have 2 really great memories of I see movies so many times, And there's certain times like this, a screening will stand out. One of them was I went into the Regent Theater in Arlington. It's an old, it's like theater. It's not even a movie theater. It's really like a theater, for local plays. And they were showing it, and there was about 15 people there. And this was when they were renovating it. So it was a windy winter night, and literally the wind was whistling through the theater doors.
Oh.
And it was freezing in there. It was like it added so much to it. It's one of those screenings that I'm like, that will go down in like the top 10 of all times of like cinematic experiences for me. The other thing is, a friend of mine would always rent a week up at the Golden Eagle Lodge in Killington. We do a ski week, really. And that was part of our annual watch because it's a huge, expansive. If you look at the overlook in this movie, looking at the Golden Eagle, it's very similar in the sense of like the winged layout and the wraparound. And we would watch it every year, and it became an annual thing for us. And hey, Kat, thanks for the weekends.
Tony, your opening thoughts were very similar to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you didn't appreciate it, so you got a little bit
Yeah.
older.
And it's the classics I just didn't get.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for the gore. I was looking for the fast rush. I was a kid. I was an ADHD kid. It's like, show me more, show me more, show me more.
Right.
And there's only 2 scenes of blood in this movie, really. There's only one on-screen kill.
Right.
That's terrible for someone who's living for the slasherism. So,
Right.
But again, can't say enough about it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, I mean, but the pacing is surprisingly fucking amazing. Like, I never once in this watching was like, wow, a lot of exposition. Wow, a lot of like people doing nothing. No, nothing like that. Very quick watch for me.
Yep.
Delyn, how familiar were you with The Shining before preparing, and had you ever taken a job watching a hotel at 12 years old?
No, I never did
Never
that.
put in that position. Good parenting.
Yeah, no. I definitely had seen it before, and very much like Tony, I kind of thought it was a little boring. Like I was like, it's just people in a hotel, and it's like it doesn't even get exciting till the end, and because I'm not paying attention. I'm young. It didn't take me till older and watching it then and being like, oh my god, like, and you start to piece the pieces of the puzzle together that you really appreciate it.
Yeah, see, I wasn't as young as Danny when I was put in this position. And of course, Danny's parents were there. I think he might have been better off if they had left him there alone. But I was, so the first time I saw this movie, probably at, maybe 14 or 15, maybe just 3 or 4 years past that whole event at that hotel. I really identified with this kid, and I really felt like, man, I lived something similar to that. I mean, no ghosts and murders, but, I was traumatized by a psychopath. I was a little kid in a big, weird place. Yeah. So, I mean, this movie for me just, oh man, just always really struck a chord with me. Okay. Box office budget, $19 million. Box office gross, $44 million. This was considered, a success. I mean, not a smash out of the park, but it was, they doubled their money. So
It was actually nominated for 2 Razzies the year it came out.
that's
Really?
crazy. That's crazy.
Kubrick and Duvall and Shelley Duvall were both nominated for Razzies.
Shelley Duvall her acting is so good. I said to Delyn, she should have got an Emmy for this. It was amazing. There's some scenes in this, like when she's describing Jack pulling the kid's arm out of his socket to the doctor, where I'm just like, wow. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's underappreciated for sure. She's the emotional heart of the movie, really.
She's really amazing. I would like to welcome our new listeners in China. Welcome. Okay.
Ni hao.
Yes. Okay. Tony, I have put together a Fast Five for us today.
Yay.
I think it's pretty simple, but something that had to be done. We're going to go Kubrick versus King today. I'm going to give you a movie from each. You're going to tell me which one is better. And we're going to figure out who's better right here, right now. Number 1, we've got Full Metal Jacket or Secret Window. Tony, which movie was better?
Fucking Full Metal Jacket by a fucking million miles.
Delyn.
Yeah, I gotta go Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket is one of the greatest war movies ever filmed. It is fucking phenomenal. Even though I really, really love Secret Window, it cannot go toe to toe with Full Metal Jacket. So Kubrick 1 round to nothing. Number 2, A Clockwork Orange or Christine. Tony, which one's better?
Oh, Clockwork Orange. It's a classic masterpiece. The levels, that's the Onion movie. It's like layers on layers on layers of meaning. Christine's a fucking car. That's what it comes down to.
Dylan, which one's better?
Yeah, it's Clockwork Orange. As much as I really did enjoy Christine, it's definitely Clockwork Orange.
Again, Christine, fucking great movie, but Clockwork Orange kicks it in the fucking codpiece. So that's 2 rounds to nothing for one Stanley Kubrick. But I have a feeling this fight is about to change pace. Number 3, 2001: A Space Odyssey or The Dead Zone. Tony, which one is better?
That's not fair. That's apples and oranges, man. They're both great on their own because the ice is gonna break.
All these movies
like,
are great, Tony. All these movies are great.
They really are. I gotta go. I enjoy watching The Dead Zone more.
Dude, come on. You got Christopher Walken. Fucking Dylan, which one's better?
I have to go with 2001.
Okay, well, the correct answer is Dead Zone because it fucking kicks ass. It's such a killer movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's fucking great. So now we've got 2 rounds to 1. This is a close fight, but King is on the ropes. Number 4, Citizen Kane or Misery. Tony, which one's better?
Citizen Kane's not Kubrick.
Yes, it is.
Can
Can we Google that?
I'll Google it.
What was the King one?
Misery.
Isn't it Orson Welles?
It's Orson Welles. Yeah, Misery's going to win out of the.
Yeah, Misery's going to win. Misery's.
I'm not a Citizen Kane fan anyway.
Really? There's not. So that's not even fucking Kubrick?
No, I
No.
think it's Orson
Dylan,
Welles.
give me a
It's Orson
Kubrick movie real quick.
Eyes Wide Shut.
That's coming up.
Oh shit. Barry
I don't
Lyndon.
know.
Come on, just Google it. Fucking Kubrick movie.
Didn't he do the fucking one with the Planet of the Apes? Is that him?
No.
No.
Barry Lyndon, Lolita.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, fine. Just Lolita. Lolita or Misery?
Misery.
Misery. Okay, so we got 2 rounds to 2. It's all tied up. Going into this championship round, round 5. Eyes Wide Shut or 1408. Tony,
Ooh.
which one's better?
I like 1408. That's a really guilty pleasure for me.
Dylan.
Really good.
I like 1408.
And the winner is 1408. Stephen King gets the last minute knockout for the win.
I was really hoping there'd be like a Maximum Overdrive in there somewhere.
I know. I feel like I kind of fucked Kubrick here, not having his movie in the number 4 slot. All right, so we'll put an asterisk. We know we're going to call it a draw. It's a draw. Okay. That's it. Let's do the synopsis, and then we will start unpeeling this onion. Synopsis: a family heads to an isolated hotel for the winter, where a sinister presence influences the father into violence. At the same time, his psychic son sees horrifying, foreboding images from both the past and the future. There it is. It's The Shining in a sentence, in a paragraph. Lynn, let's do it. Let's break it down.
I think we're missing some things. Let's flesh it out. All right. Former teacher and recovering alcoholic Jack Torrance interviews for a caretaker job at the Overlook Hotel in an effort to rebuild his life after his volatile temper lost him his teaching position. The hotel manager, Mr. Stuart Ullman, warns Jack that he and his family will be snowbound through most of the winter and of the potential risk of cabin fever. He drives the point home by recounting a season when the caretaker, Charles Grady, went crazy and brutally killed his wife, his 2 girls, and finally himself. Given his own desperation and the opportunity to pursue his true passion, writing, Jack acknowledges the warning but accepts the job anyways. Meanwhile, Jack's son Danny, at home with his mother Wendy, has a seizure while talking to his imaginary friend Tony about the Overlook Hotel. He has a vision of blood splashing out of an elevator in the hotel, an image which we will see again. The doctor comes, and Wendy reveals that Danny has been talking to Tony since they lived in Vermont, right around the time Jack pulled his arm out of his socket when he was drunk. So our movie opens up with this sweeping view with the car winding through the woods to the Overlook, and finally the hotel itself. This is before drones, so this is obviously a helicopter shot, and it's shaky. But to me, that's perfect because the shakiness makes you feel uneven. It makes you feel kind of discombobulated as you're trying to get a bead on what the hotel looks like. Additionally, this music by Wendy Carlos and Rachel Elkin, it's iconic. It's foreboding. Super creative use of instruments that end up being echoed in scary movies for decades to come.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about movies from the 70s and 80s and how they're so hard to replicate now. I mean, these opening shots would have been done with a drone. It would have been all smooth and fucking beautiful, and it just wouldn't have given you the same effect. So first, I need to mention this opening scene of The Shining is the closing scene from the original U.S. theatrical cut of Blade Runner. They used the stock footage, and it's set to the Milk Bar music score in A Clockwork Orange. It's
Mhm.
just changed a little bit, but I mean, if you listen to them back to back, which we did, it's close enough. And it's, dude, this opening music is so fucking good, terrifying.
The score is a grail for every collector out there. There was such a limited run because that was back when no one was really collecting soundtracks,
Yep.
and the originals out there literally go for hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
It was my grail for a long time, and my wife found one
Oh,
in Germany of places and got it for me. So this is like wrapped in plastic, put away, doesn't get played. It's like fuck that shit.
that's
You know, I
awesome.
made a CD of it really quickly, and that was it. I love the score to this. It's haunting. It's terrifying. Even without an image of this movie playing, the deep, dark tones, the horns of this movie, the shrill of whatever instrument that Wendy Carlos was using is
Yeah.
just it's blood
Well,
curdling. And it's just amazing.
and the use of dead spots with no music and no sound, which also is
Right.
amazing. Um,
It's flicking, it's tapping, it's
Yep.
amazing. Yeah, I will actually disagree with the two of you. I felt the helicopter shots of this intro were smooth as hell, and it's what really makes it even better. The fact it's so smooth, and you'll notice throughout the entire movie, this is again another historical movie because it's one of the first ones to be majorly shot with a Steadicam, which I'm sure was a point we're going to bring up later. But what that does, it's a spiritual observer. You're flying along. You're coming in.
Right
You're
behind
swooping
them.
in as one of the specters, watching this family, watching the surrounding areas. You're watching over their shoulders, and the intro to this movie. Not only that, but the fact that American audiences everywhere, you're used to credits going down. I'm sorry, going up. These come down.
Mhm.
Instantly puts you off. You're thrown off. The credits start coming from the top of the screen down. You're like, well, that's just discombobulating. So he instantly sets you in the unease,
Yep.
right? Just
Agreed.
with the titles alone.
Yeah.
We get to where Ullman is, and we're led in. And again, this is something I'm sure we're going to get into later. The impossible setup of this hotel. Again,
Yes.
because we're audio only, we can't show the visuals of it. But the fact he goes into his office and there's this big bright window behind him, it can't be that, because later in the movie we see what's around the other side of it, and it's a hallway leading to the kitchens.
Yep.
So it's again another weird, fucked up thing about this hotel keeps changing on people.
Oh yeah.
The fact that go ahead. There's more I want to get into. I don't want to take all.
Well,
the
no,
whole thing.
you're right though. That the hotel is a character in the movie, and they are going to shoot it the way they need to make this story work. And there's no rules in this hotel. It's perfect. And sometimes you would knock it for that, but here it's dreamlike. It's Freddy Krueger. It's Nightmare on Elm Street. It's perfect. Just give me the visuals I want.
And if you're not looking for it, it's completely unsuspecting. He shot it in the day, first thing in the morning, right? And the thing is, Kubrick is fucked up because nothing goes on the screen that's not perfect. That's the thing we've learned about Kubrick is everything has a meaning, everything has a purpose. He doesn't show anything he doesn't mean to. There are no accidents with him. He's obsessively meticulous in his shooting, his angles, his lighting, etc. And everything about this movie has a reason. It's been picked apart, and again, we'll get into a lot of it. But the fact that we're shown it in the swing of things. You have hotel patrons sitting around, you have the staff working. It looks normal. It's such a drastic change to 15 minutes from now.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it.
So we get our first look at Danny, and he's eating a sandwich while he's inhaling his mother's burning cigarette, right? And he's talking to her with his finger as another person, and she's infantilizing him by talking to his finger like it's a real person. So immediately the parenting is in question here, right? I mean, every time, and like literally every time this kid is eating in the movie, somebody is fucking blowing a Kent cigarette in his face. It's unbelievable.
You, the person who was left in a hotel, knows about the parenting in the 70s and 80s.
Listen, I wish my mother was there smoking a cigarette, protecting me. Okay, Tony,
Making you PB and J.
if your youngest was acting like this at breakfast, would you be concerned, or would you blow a cigarette smoke in his face and carry a conversation on with his finger? You'd be on your way
I
to
mean,
fucking children's hospital is what you'd be doing.
come on, kids have imaginary
No,
friends, and
not like
again,
this.
back in the day, imaginary friends, pet rocks were
Bull,
fucking. They sold pet rocks. I mean,
bullshit.
shit like that was like the trend. I'm not saying that he was right. I'm not saying that they were good. I see a woman who dealt with an alcoholic, and this is part of what we're going to get into. And I'm glad we're kind of bringing it up now because I'm going to go off on a completely fucking tangent. Is the fact that the casting of Shelley Duvall, Kubrick cast her because she looked like she's been through everything.
Yeah.
Because in his version of The Shining, Jack's a huge alcoholic. She had to deal with it, going up and down with it. She's got a kid who's fucked up. Obviously, has this special power. They're putting they're putting under the carpet. No one wants to talk about it. Tony's an actual thing, and they're just getting through the life. She's trying to survive.
Yeah, she's a drowned cat.
We're in the book. She's blonde. She's an ex-cheerleader. She's had everything handed to her whole life. Everything is good. So when things start to happen, it's more horrifying for her. She doesn't know how to handle it. But Wendy in Kubrick's version, she's already been through the fucking ringer. So she, as much as she has a breakdown, that's why the strength comes through so well in Shelley Duvall, because one, Kubrick put her through the fucking ringer, and two, she was cast because she looks like it.
Right.
Yeah.
So to deal with what she's, quote, been dealt in her life, this is the minimal part of what she's had to deal with. Her kid's going to talk out of his finger for a little while. We'll let it go for a little while. And she tells the doctor that. She's not really embarrassed by it, and the doctor's not surprised by it. She's like, oh, okay. When the doctor's like, oh, you're talking to who's Tony? He's a little boy who lives in my mouth. Oh, if I open your mouth, can you see him? No, he goes to my stomach. And she lets it go because that's the date. That's the times. It's like kids have that. As long as they had a reason for it, obviously there's some sort of trauma from somewhere that causes this to happen.
Right.
In the real world, not in The Shining, because
Right.
The Shining, it turns out Tony is, we've never talked about in the movie, Tony is future Danny.
Right.
Danny's middle
his name is
Anthony.
Daniel Anthony. Right.
Right. So it's him coming back to warn him about what's going to happen to him,
Right.
to help him try to deal with it and try to survive it. But in the movie, it's his power. And no one wants to talk about the power because that would bring more problems to the table she has to fucking deal with. Aside from her out of work, alcoholic, fucking moving us in the middle of fucking nowhere for the third time in how long? And we're going to spend
Right.
it away from everybody.
Right.
So you know what? I'll deal with the kid when I have to deal with the kid.
Right. Well, Delinda and I talked about how this movie could have just been a straight drama horror movie with no supernatural anything involved, just about a misogynistic, alcoholic, man that physically and emotionally abuses his family and takes him up to a hotel and kills him. I mean, that would have been equally as entertaining. So, I mean, it's, the.
If you like this stuff.
So
Therapy.
Yeah. So next we get the meltdown. We get Danny's little meltdown in the bathroom, and Jack gets the story of Grady killing his family in the interview, and that scene fades into Danny talking to Tony, getting the news that Jack already got the job and he'll be calling before having the vision of the bloody horror. So, people have said, does Jack have The Shining? Doesn't Jack have The Shining? Right? Yeah, Jack has The Shining, 100%. I mean,
I agree.
Jack has The Shining, and he is unknowingly right now vibing with Danny. They're connected with The Shining, similar to how he is with, Catman Struthers, Dick Halloran. And finally, we meet the doctor who examines Danny. We were just talking about this. While talking to Wendy, we learned that Jack is an abusive drunk father and husband. And for me, this scene is almost as powerful a scene as we get in this movie. And we were talking about this before we turned on the camera. Shelley Duvall's performance was gut-wrenching here. You're watching a woman making excuses for her husband, trying to pan it off as, oh, everything's fine. And, and I was saying to Delin, this movie is more a horror story about a physically and emotionally abusive man that tortures and ultimately tries to kill his family. We didn't need all the hocus pocus for this film to work, but I'm glad it was there because it just made it better. Danny and Wendy are obviously screwed up from years of abuse. And for me, that's the meat and potatoes of this film. The Shining is just a cherry on top of this horror sundae. That's how good this movie is. It could have worked on so many different levels, in my opinion.
I mean, the big magic is what held that fucking cigarette together during her fucking monologue.
That ash.
We have to acknowledge it. Come on.
Yes, the
That
ash.
fucking ash just never
Longest
breaks.
ash I've ever seen.
There's
It's crazy.
there's a couple of scenes that stand out to me, like where she gets caught reading his novel for the first time and he surprises her. And it's like, this looks like a woman that's really been caught by a demented, abusive husband. Like, she can't answer his questions. She's shell shocked. And that just plays so real for me.
So, Tony, I saw you shaking your head when we were saying that we thought Jack had The Shining. You don't agree?
Yeah, well, I've gone back and forth with that over the years. I feel it's funny because I've never heard anyone else talk about it except for right now, which I'm like, wow, okay. I feel he might have had it at one time, but he dulled it with the alcoholism
Yeah.
because
Thank
he
you.
didn't know what it was.
Yes.
So he kept drinking to try to shut the voices down, shut the premonitions down. That's why he wanted to be a writer, because maybe he just write it out of his head. And again, I've never seen that in any documentaries, any of the books I've read about it. It's never been brought up. So I think it's awesome that you guys brought it up. But I don't know, because if he did know, he wouldn't need Delbert or the hotel to tell him what Danny was doing. He would be open to it because he didn't have any straight alcohol. He maybe had the demon alcohol that he gets from Lloyd. But again, we'll get into what's real and what's not with that.
Yeah,
later.
so I mean, the thing is that, so in Dr. Sleep, and obviously we're not doing Dr. Sleep right now, but in Dr. Sleep, Danny drinks in order to numb The Shining. So you know that that's a device that you can use to numb The Shining. And the fact that Jack has now gone, according to him, and you can never really tell who's telling the truth and who's not, but according to him, he's gone about 5 months without drinking. You would think that maybe the alcohol's starting to work its way out of his system, and now he's starting to, the antennas are going up a little.
Right.
And that's, you know.
Which is why so many things show to him first.
Exactly.
He has decades of dealing with it. But
Yeah.
again, if that was the case, he would know what Danny was planning. He would know Scatman Crothers was talking to his kid. He would know all that.
No, not
Right.
necessarily.
Good point.
Not necessarily. There's different levels of The Shining, obviously. You know, Catman Struthers has mastered it. Danny's still young. So my point is, in this movie, there's a high-pitched noise that comes up every time Danny starts getting the shine, and every time Catman Struthers gets the shine, exact same tone. And every time Jack gets to shine, they use the tone. So this tone,
It's the turn of TV on in the house somewhere.
well, yeah, but
that
this,
high-pitched
yes,
thing you hear.
but this tone is like when the shark is coming in Jaws, Jojo, you know, the shark is coming. When this tone comes up, I have to assume that the person that's seeing the vision is shining. So I really feel like Jack definitely has the shining 100%. I just think that he is, you know, numbed himself to it and forced it so far down that he's not recognizing it like the other two who are actually using it on a daily basis in some way or another.
The one thing, again, I hate that we don't have the visuals, but the one thing I also watched the documentary Room 237, which is one of the best documentaries about The Shining. There's some batshit crazy theories in there, but there's some that I'm like, that's pretty fucking good. When we see Danny in the bathroom, tracking shot going into the bathroom, he's got the characters all over his room. The last character we see before we go in to see the close-up of Danny is Dopey on the side.
Mm-hmm.
See, you know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he shows the vision, or he sees everything, he faints. When we cut back out, when the doctor's examining him, Dopey is off the door.
Yeah.
Because he's not blind. He's not stupid. He's now clued in. He's smart into what's coming.
And his nickname is Doc.
Yeah.
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 So that's the smart dwarf. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
he's kind of wising up.
I don't care if this is 1980, man. If that's my kid, this isn't my God. This isn't fucking like an imaginary friend. This is getting to the point where it's like, this kid's got a fucking brain tumor. There's a problem here. You know?
Okay,
Mr. Dorrance, Danny's not here right now. Mr.
are you done?
Dorrance,
Can we move on?
Okay.
And really, you don't have kids, does really? Huh?
I'd smack that fucking kid and blow a butt in his face.
Okay. Upon Danny's arrival at the hotel, head chef Dick Halloran recognizes that Danny is telepathic and speaks to him mentally to offer him some ice cream. He explains that he and his grandmother both had the gift. She refers to this communication as the Shining. He also counsels Danny about the hotel, hinting that something terrible has happened there and it left a trace as if somebody burnt toast, which only people who can shine will perceive. Danny questions Dick about what went on in the hotel and is specifically about room 237 in particular, as Danny can sense that Dick is especially afraid of that room. Though he strives to assure Danny that the images he sees in the hotel are just like pictures in a book and can't hurt him, Dick sternly warns Danny to stay out of that room. Jack and Wendy are shown their quarters in the hotel, and Danny sees two little twin girls when he's playing alone in the game room. They've only just arrived, and already shit's getting weird. So upon this viewing, I find myself wishing that Dick could have just taken the kid with him, because it's like, oh my God, just take the little kid and run for the hills.
Yeah.
Because this, I mean, clearly
That's not
that
a problem. I
can't
think that's
happen,
called
but
kidnapping, but I'm not sure.
it would have been a huge problem, but it would have saved everyone a lot of trouble.
It's a different movie.
now-
Danny, like chocolate ice cream? You want to go for a drive?
So during the scenes with them touring the hotel, then Tony brought this up and I'm just going to add to it a little. Despite people being there, I get this strange sensation that it's like a liminal space, right? Someplace you shouldn't be. And I think Kubrick's purposeful set, the places where furniture is disappearing, like in one scene, the furniture disappears and then in the next scene it's back. Like it's happening a lot. There's hallways that shouldn't exist in the framework of the rooms that we know exist. There's doors that lead to nowhere. There's windows where there shouldn't be windows. This all continues that experience of unease and being off balance through the entire movie.
And again, it goes back to the whole Kubrick doesn't make mistakes. So that's meant to be seen if you're aware. And that's the best part about this movie. The more you watch it, the more you see.
Right.
Yes.
The more clued in you are. So again, we're being treated like Danny. Did you see that? Maybe? I don't know. Let's watch it again and see if we see it.
Well, you were saying to me before we started recording, you were like, oh, you've never seen it. I'm like, oh, I've seen it a million times, but I've never sat down and really watched it to review it, where you're really trying to read into this movie. And it was such a treat. It was such a treat for all the reasons we're discussing.
So during the scenes we're talking about, I'm sorry I didn't want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Just totally off on the weird tangent. I went through the books, did a quick Google, didn't find it, which I was shocked. Everybody always talks about it. When we see Jack, he's reading a Playgirl
Yeah.
Yes.
in the middle of the lobby. That's one of those things everyone's like, oh, he's reading a Playgirl. That's kind of funny. When I watched it last night, I'm like, all right, let me create my own here. He's reading a Playgirl. And again, this is during the 80s. Wasn't accepted. Homosexuality wasn't accepted as much as it is, these days. Every time we see him, he's now, I'm going to fantasize about a woman. He gets angry at Wendy every time she reminds him that he's married. You've ruined my fucking life. There's a latent homosexual undertone going on here and causing his fury and his anger towards her, towards the woman in the room. It's just, I never saw it before until I started thinking, I'm like, is this like some sort of undermining
It is.
self-hatred of maybe Jack is gay?
Tony, later in the movie, you're going to see a male dog going down on a male man in a hotel room. I mean, that's not a female dog. That is a male dog or whatever the fuck it is. It's not a woman.
Bear.
Yeah, it's a bear. And it's not a woman. It's Yogi. Okay.
Also, and I mean, I'm not going to delve too deeply into this, but on the Playgirl issue, one of the articles right on the cover, at the top of the cover, is talking about incest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, does it mean that he was, incestually involved with somebody, or maybe he's doing something to Danny? You don't really know. And it never is really put out there, but Kubrick put that magazine there, that specific magazine there for a reason.
And like Tony said, this kid is like next level fucked up. Like next level fucked up to the point where when things go really bad, his personality is gone completely. Tony is completely taken over now. Danny is nowhere to be found. He's not coming back till this is over. He is now completely blanking this out.
Disassociated.
Yes.
Right.
So
he's being protected by his adult self because he can't handle it. It would break him.
and that's not from fucking having your arm pulled out of the socket once by accident. No.
Which would still be bad enough.
Yeah, this is like creep show time. Like, this is like if I opened up my fucking journal and you all read it and went, oh no, Des, you'd all want to give me a hug, okay?
And come on, we got to talk about the first time we see the twins.
Okay.
Yes.
In the game room.
Let me get into this. So on the drive up to the hotel, This is a great scene that I forgot all about. And I kept pausing this scene just to look at the expressions on each actor's face in the car at different times. So on the drive up, we can see Jack, he's already possessed. He's already annoyed with his family and he's really stern his face. But when he's given the chance to scare Danny with the donor party story, he lights up like a Christmas tree. He goes from being like disgruntled and mad to gleefully telling this story, knowing he's scaring Danny. This guy is a monster. Very disturbing. And the devil of this movie is the details, the facial expressions, the shared looks between the characters, the unspoken intentions. Man, it's amazing. It's horrifying. That whole drive up scene, it really scared me. And you can see the
And
team starting to divide. Team Mommy Danny versus Team Jack, the Shining Hotel. It's crazy, the overlook.
and that's one of the biggest reasons King hated it is he didn't want Jack to be bad yet. He really wanted Jack just to be an alcoholic who was affected by the hotel and by the isolation and cracking. But Kubrick set the evil off very, very early because if you just look at Nicholson, I mean, he already looks evil to begin with certain expressions, but he really made him play it up early on. So again, I can't argue with what you're saying because you're right. He's got the face down, he's driving, he's determined, and that's the only time we see any emotion out of him. It's like, see, he saw it on the television.
Yep.
You know, it's like he got off on it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, when she's
And-
like, "Oh, this is so beautiful." He's like, "Yeah." Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Fucking talk about how beautiful it is. I'll slap your fucking face, bitch. You know?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, but Tony, to what you were saying about Jack being a good guy in the novelization and then being a bad guy here right from the get. Okay, so I understand where Stephen King is coming from because that would really lend itself more to the story of he's possessed by this hotel. So when he gets there, we see him start turning into this asshole where he starts off as a great father. But that movie is not nearly as dark and layered as this movie.
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when you're writing a book, you have 300 pages to get him from good guy to the lunatic at the end. Kubrick has 2 hours pretty much, right? Give or take.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
would
And-
have been very easy to have some scenes of him instead of talking about how he pulled Danny's arm out of the shoulder. It would be an uplifting story about how he's been just the dad of the year, the greatest dad. Lots of shots of him hugging and loving his child, and then you get the stark contrast when they get to the hotel and suddenly fuck you, the Donner Party. Oh,
Well, I mean, well, that's the thing. It's like he's been unemployed. They kind of gloss over it. He's like, oh, I'm kind of between jobs.
yeah.
So he doesn't have a job. He
Right.
doesn't. He's not doing anything. He needs this job bad. Everybody knows it. Again, all these unspoken things. When you stop and think about it, this family is so fucked.
Yeah.
They live in like a 3-room house, 3-room apartment. Place is clogged with books. It looks like a whole hoarder's paradise. And this guy's not working. He's an ex-alcoholic. Kid's fucked up. She's traumatized. It's like, and that's literally in the first 15 minutes, we get all this unspokenness that we just kind of gloss over until you look at it and you're like, holy shit, this is already deep.
And Tony, they build that past so completely and so quickly. Like, I feel like I've known this family for decade, for 7 years of Danny's life. Like, I can imagine what that 7 years looked like.
I mean, I don't really want to get into all the casting that could have, should have, would have, because I actually took one of the ones that, he said he did want, and that's my recast at the end. But the fact that Stephen King was pushing him to cast John Voight.
Now, John
As
Voight,
Jack, I'm like,
I mean,
never.
he'd be fine. John Voight's a
No.
good actor.
Not for this.
No.
I couldn't
No.
picture him going dark enough.
Not as good as
Ever.
my recast. Ooh.
We'll see.
And my ending. Ooh. Okay. So next, Tony, this is going to go to what you were talking about. We see the hotel full of employees packing up for the season. Now, this was always very powerful for me for a certain reason, because I remember going to that hotel with my mother and the owners were there before they had left. And it didn't seem opposing with my mom there and, Mr. and Mrs. Oppenheimer there and some people that were there. And I remember thinking, oh, cool. And this makes the hotel feel safe and normal, which is a perfect foil for how fucking creepy it will feel when everybody's gone and it's completely empty and you're completely isolated there. Like, all of a sudden, this is not fun and interesting anymore. This is real. Like, whoa, this is fucked up. We see Danny playing darts and the music, the score. This is where we're going to hear this high tone again. it's so fucking good. I love this choice of this note that they're playing. Um, and again, this is this is, the killer's coming. It's so well done. And I feel like Kubrick had to be doing this on purpose to let us know who was in on the shine. And this is my kind of thought of what this is, Tony. I thought this was kind of a fun feel. So Danny for me is stuck between dimensions. This is where he can see the dead, he's in the past, and he's in the present, and he's in the future all at the same time. So he's seeing these like 4 different dimensions all at once. And that kind of goes to like what Delin was saying, where things are moving and changing, and like maybe this was the way it was 20 years ago, it's the way it was 10 years ago. I don't know, but I feel like that's kind of what The Shining is being stuck between those 4 dimensions. What do you think,
No,
Tony?
I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly what it is. That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. So next we meet Dick Halloran. Wow. Fucking Catman Struthers. What a great cast here. And it's such a great scene. Because here he's going to fill in the blanks with Danny. He's explaining a little bit about this power that Danny just identifies with as an imaginary friend. And Catman Struthers is also explaining it to us. And I really like that. And the chemistry between these 2 actors in this scene, it's really, really good. Um, this chocolate ice cream scene, it's soft and gentle. I mean, the way fucking Dick is talking to him, you feel the compassion. You know that this kid is hurting, and he's like offering him some ice cream and trying to like just get into his head a little bit. But it's also scary and threatening when Danny asks about the room. He says, "You just stay away from that room." And this whole scene for me, wow, just wow. I mean, Tony,
See, before we even hit that scene, going back a few ticks, is the fact that I know we said that Wendy's like, oh, she's just fucking, she's broken all this, but this scene shows how on top of shit she is. She notices, hey, why are you calling him Doc? She picked right up on it. It's like, we didn't say that, we didn't call him anything. So she's got her eyes on him all the time.
Yes.
She's overprotective of him as much as she's trying to like play it back, because she'll get screamed at, maybe hit if she oversteps a boundary. But she's right on top of it. And I love that because it's glossed over. It's just like, oh, well, let's just, point that out. But it's like, that's a protective mother.
And that's great storytelling, because if you're paying attention, it's all there for you to see. She has to watch this kid like this, or he's going to fucking fall victim to her crazy husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's also incredibly adept at putting on the happy face in front of his new employers and doing a little dance in the gold room. And yes, show me the boiler room. Yes, show me the kitchen. Like, she's putting on the happy face. Like, you can't tell that this is a fucking battered woman, basically.
Because she knows she's going to have to pick up the pieces when he finally cracks. It's not the first fucking time.
And what's amazing about this is back in the mid 70s, I mean, obviously way before the mid 70s, even worse probably, but up until like the early 80s, this was commonplace in the house. Dad goes to work, he's working 50 hours a week, he smokes cigarettes, he comes home, he drinks beers to relax, and fucking is abusive to his family. And this is,
dinner's on the table.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. The kid got in trouble. You're not going to fucking have your iPad taken away for a day. Dad's coming to the room with a belt and he's whooping your fucking ass, and you're going to think twice next time, And I think today could use a little more of that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Back it up, kid.
But yeah, Scatman Crothers in the scene, it's a perfect foil. He's literally like no one else in this entire movie. He literally, you can pick out little pieces of everybody else in everybody else, either how they've been affected by it, but he is so gentle, he's so caring, and he's so smart.
Yes.
Yes.
Even when he's talking to other people, it's like, well, we were just trying to reach them. I heard something might be going on up there, when he's trying to reach them through the cop on the radio.
Yeah, he's so nice to the cop. He's so polite. Just a great character.
Because he's been through so much. He's been through what Danny's been through for 50, 60 years at this point. And he just wants to, he knows how to work the system to get what he needs.
But Tony, that's why that scene, and I'm glad you just said that, because I want the listeners to really understand what I meant about the chocolate ice cream scene. By this time, this quickly in the movie, our hearts are breaking for Danny. We know how hard this child's life is. And we can see that through Dick's eyes, and you feel that compassion and that empathy as he's talking to this child. He has literally, he knows he's got maybe 10 minutes with this kid alone, where the
Yeah.
parents aren't going to be there to coach him up. And he wants to know what is going on, because he also knows that if there is something dark going on, it's going to come out in this hotel.
And one of the things that I always wondered before I watched it, I'd say maybe 5 or 6 times ago, is like, why didn't Danny call out for him? Why? Because he doesn't know how.
Yeah.
Why didn't Dick keep in touch with him through it all? But by that point, Danny was already shutting himself down. Danny was already traumatized enough that he was closed off to it. He basically, Jack and Wendy, through their behavior around him, took the tubes out of the radio.
Yes.
That's what they did inside of Danny. You
Yep.
know,
Yes.
he couldn't be contacted by Dick, because we find out later on in Doctor Sleep, it doesn't matter how far away you are. You got shine, you can connect. You could talk to someone miles away, and he just couldn't. And I'm like, now it makes sense, because he was already so damaged by the time Dick realized, shit, something's going on up there. He couldn't reach him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a perfect parallelism.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect parallel. The radio was out because they took the fuses out, and Danny's out because they took the fuses out.
It's perfect.
Yes.
It's
It was
perfect.
like great.
What did you think of Doctor Sleep?
I loved it.
I did too.
It was very dry for a long time, but has, again, one of the most traumatic scenes with that baseball fucking kid.
Yep.
Hate it.
Yes.
Can't watch it to this day.
It wasn't this.
Forward three.
It wasn't this, but it was a nice homage to this, if you will.
Oh my god, he tied the novel and the novel and the movie together.
He did.
in a way that only Flanagan, only that he can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
Mike
did it
Flanagan.
perfectly.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. Jack's mental health deteriorates rapidly once the family is alone in the hotel. He has writer's block, sleeps too little, and is generally irritable. While the weather is still relatively warm, Wendy and Danny walk through the maze of tall hedges, making a game out of it, stopping at dead ends and fixing their mistakes. Inside the lobby, Jack looks down on a miniature of the maze and watches Wendy and Danny. Danny continues to be drawn to room 237 while Jack is being a rude dick to everybody in his life, including his very supportive wife. A huge snowstorm rolls in and the family is effectively cut off from the rest of the world. The phones are out and the only communication they have is a ham radio. Danny sees the twins again and they invite him to play with them forever, and he sees them interspliced with images of them dead and bloody on the floor. So during this scene with Wendy and Danny, we get our Kubrick stare from Jack Nicholson.
Good stare.
Yeah, and when he's doing watching them playing in the snow, he's making that stare. I also love the effect there is when Danny's riding his big wheel around the hotel and he's going over hard floor to carpet, and there's no music. It's just that sound, right? But then it's super foreboding. But then they turned around and they took that sound and used it in the score at the end when it's in the maze at the end. You can hear it's like loud, 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 slow, 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 loud, 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 quiet, quiet, quiet. It's really well done.
there.
Chef's kiss. It's really cool. I'd also like to point out that the only one I see doing any work around this fucking hotel is Wendy.
Oh yeah.
Wendy's the only one taking care of the hotel.
Wendy.
And he continues to go, I'm the caretaker. And it's like, you're done doing shit.
Wendy is the protagonist in this movie, 100%. I mean, she's the one you're rooting for. I mean, at least for me, she's the one I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
So, you're talking about the scene when he's riding his big wheel. And, I also made a note on that audio, just how fucking cool it was. When every little kid from this time has rode a big wheel and knows how those plastic wheels sound. So,
Yeah.
really great. But Danny stops at room 237. And, this movie didn't, like Tony said, it didn't have a lot of gore and stuff, but it had a lot of really creepy images. And we get the first really good jump scare here of the two twins. And I thought it was great. But this scene of him seeing these two twins, this transitions into Jack acting violently and unhinged towards Wendy for stopping to say hello to him. And this isn't the first red flag since they've arrived about his new, like, really aggressive behavior, like even more than when they were back at home. She brings him breakfast in the bed. Same thing, he's just like, looks like he wants to kill her. And I think at this moment, if I were her, this is where I'd be considering taking my kid, jumping in the car and sneaking off before the blizzard comes. Like, he's starting to go past the point of battered wife can make excuses. Like, the storm's coming. this is getting weird. This shit's getting real, you know? Um, so unbelievable scene here. One of my favorites in the movie. Danny and Wendy playing in the maze, right? And then we see Jack looking down at the maze. And then it, goes back to the maze. Like this is just hypnotic. And the image of this maze and to have this maze, just crazy, crazy fucking good. I loved it.
The fact that when they're showing the model of the maze and he's looking down over it, it's so obscenely oversized and big.
Yeah.
Like there's no way it would ever be realistic. Like they're so lost in the middle. It shows that like there is no way out of this. There's no edges. There's no exit. It just goes off the edge of the screen, which makes you think it's endless and it's hopeless.
That's so
and that's
smart.
what they're going for.
Because he can't create that size from inside the
Right.
maze. So he's just going to show us a little model, and we're like, oh, it's that big.
The thing that always bothered me before I started being the fucking movie geek that I was, like, all right, hey, there's the outside of the hotel. Hey, the maze is supposed to be in front. Where the fuck is the maze every time we see the hotel?
Yeah.
It's not there.
It's not there.
But then it shows up when it's convenient. It's the fucking room requirement, for God's sakes. It's literally just, it shows up when it needs to.
Right.
And no one questions it because that's their reality.
Right. No.
And that's one, it's such a weird thing that everybody just goes, oh yeah, it's no problem. Well, maybe it's in the back. No, they
it's
show
right in
them
the front.
leaving the front of the hotel, running, and then they're in the maze. It's not there, but everybody just accepts it for the way it is. It's the otherworldliness that just goes, okay, that's the way it is. The other thing that we never question, but when I was a kid, I was like, that's weird. When they're watching TV, anytime the TV is on, there's no cables. Nothing is plugged in.
Oh.
Nothing. There's no cables leading in the back.
Wow.
There's this TV in the middle of the window, in the middle of this big room, not plugged into a goddamn thing.
That's awesome.
But yet it's working.
And back then, it would have been rabbit ears, and they're getting this perfect picture in a snowstorm up in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
So that means, is it really on, or is this somebody?
Yeah.
Is it it's again? We're just accepting the reality that we're in right now, and not questioning it because we're already in the middle of the psychosis.
Right.
There's so many things about that I'm like, that's just because they screwed up. They're like, no, it's not. Kubrick doesn't screw up. It's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
It's on purpose.
Yeah. So we get a scene here that kind of, again, lends me to start thinking Jack definitely has The Shining. And it's one of Jack's best facial moments in the movie. So Wendy and Danny are playing in the snow outside, and it cuts to Jack dressed in a black sweater, which I love, dressed in black. I mean, it's a perfect fucking outfit for him. And he has what I can only describe as like a demon face. It's so demented. It's insane. And Tony, we hear the high-pitched noise. It comes in. Beep. Same noise Danny hears, same noise Dick hears. And when he hears and when he's hearing this, I imagine that he is seeing himself killing Danny and Wendy because he's very, very serious. And then suddenly he smirks like he knows what he needs to do and he knows what the end game is now. And I don't know if I'm reading into that, but I mean, it just felt obvious. Like that's what was going on. What do you think?
I took it as it was, he's realizing what he's put himself into. I think you're right. I think the fact is that preceding that was him looking over the maze, seeing them there. Then, cuts to the storm. He's now in the middle of the break is happening. The lack of alcohol, the lack of social interaction, all the things that were keeping him are now gone.
Yep.
He has nothing to protect himself with. And that's why I feel you might be onto it. He has the shine, but it's not the same as everybody else's. Everyone else helps them, lets them see the positive things, lets them see the negatives. His is ruled by negativity. His is ruled by alcohol. His is ruled by chaos, by negativity, because that's the person he is. So it accentuates it.
Yeah.
Whereas
And the
Danny's
hotel's
innocent.
not helping. The hotel's making it worse.
Danny's innocent, and Tony keeps showing him things to warn him, to protect him, to keep him safe. Jack's is to do harm.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Think of all the things Jack sees first. He sees the guy who's going to give him alcohol. He sees the guy who killed his kids.
Yep.
He sees all the things that tell him to do the intrusive thoughts he's been keeping under wraps, either by alcohol or by avoidance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you believe, so I read this in doing my research, that The hotel wants Danny. It wants Danny, but it can't get through to him because of Tony. So it's going to get to Danny through Jack because Jack is weak and Jack is negative.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. They want that power. So they want him to become part of the hotel.
Yeah.
And yeah, Danny does not want that.
There was another scene that wasn't like a big scene, but it definitely added to like this, to adding depth to these characters. And they're very important to the movie, as mundane as they seem. So we get this quick scene of Wendy talking to the sheriff's office. And it's good because we learned that the phones are likely to go down for the entire winter. And we also learned this is going to be one of the worst storms ever, right? But what I
Right.
really see here is Wendy's face, and we can see how desperate she is to talk to somebody. It's clear that like Jack is now ignoring her and cut her out, and she's literally just stuck talking to her son and his imaginary friend. Like that must be disturbing. So she just wants a little normalcy. She's reaching out. This guy's a normal person. She's like, can we just talk for a while? Like, how are the Sox doing? Like I'm down here with my son and his little friend Tony and fucking my husband who looks like he's fucking the leader of the Dahmer party. Like, what's going on here? It's really scary. And finally, we get the Bloody Twins inviting Danny to play with them forever and ever. Again, horrifying images mixed with creepy dialogue, and it's as good as it gets. It's fucking great.
Jack continues to stay up late and sleep in. One morning when Danny goes to retrieve a toy, Jack talks to him and tells him he wants them to stay in the hotel forever and ever, just like the little girls had said to him in the hallway.
Yep.
The next day, Danny is lured into room 237 by a rolling ball and a suddenly open door. Wendy is checking the boilers in the basement when Jack starts screaming. He tells her that he had a nightmare in which he used an axe to chop Danny and her to pieces. Danny then appears at the other end of the room, his sweater ripped, and there are bruises on his neck. He does not answer when Wendy asks what happened, and she angrily accuses Jack of hurting Danny. Jack is furious at this accusation, and he storms around the hotel, making his way to the Gold Ballroom. Sitting at the bar, Jack declares that he would sell his soul for one drink, and when he looks up, he discovers a bartender who serves him a drink. Jack seems to have expected this man and even addresses him by his name, Lloyd. In the course of telling his troubles to Lloyd, Jack reveals he unintentionally dislocated Danny's shoulder, the same accident Wendy mentioned to Danny's pediatrician earlier, though there is a timeline discrepancy here that could be interesting.
Yeah.
A frantic Wendy then finds him, and she pleads with him to investigate Danny's claim that a crazy woman attacked him in the bathroom of room 237. Jack, who acts a little bit tipsy, grudgingly agrees to go have a look. As Jack approaches the door to room 237, Danny appears to be having a seizure. Dick, back at his home in Florida, stares wide-eyed as he picks up the signal that Danny is sending. So it's not a secret that Jack's already on the verge of becoming unhinged before the overlook. And it doesn't seem like it took much really to push him over. I know this is the sticking point and why King didn't care for Kubrick's adaptation. But again, as I said earlier, I feel like this is better because there wasn't 300 pages to get us here. I'd rather get here early and then spend the rest of the movie with the rest of the stuff. Can we also get a mention of the art that Dick has hanging in his home? He's a man who knows what he likes.
Yeah, very 70s.
Afros and boobies. Afros
Yep.
and boobies.
So we get a scene here that for me is another reason this movie is so just, it's got so many layers and it's so touching and it's so emotional. And there's scenes that are gut wrenching like this one. This reminds me of the chocolate ice cream scene again. So this is the last time we're going to see Jack have control of his mind and who he is as a dad and a husband. So we get this weird scene of Jack and Danny talking. Jack pulls him up on his lap and he kisses his head and he holds him very tenderly, very, very lovingly. And he gives him a hug and he tells him, I love you. And I feel like at this point, Jack knows what he has to do, but he's having this moment of clarity and he feels really bad about it. And he loves this child. I mean, this is his child, but he knows what he has to do. And he says, to him, don't worry, basically we're going to stay here forever and ever together. Right. And, that's the line we've already heard, obviously. And this is followed by Danny asking him, you wouldn't hurt me or mom, would you? And if there was any like confusion of where this story was heading, right here, Kubrick is letting us know where we're going. And from this moment on, Jack is gone. The movie really spirals quickly from here. But just the emotion and the feeling in that scene and the change in Jack for that 2 minutes. I mean, Tony, did you feel it?
Yeah, and it's one of the points I actually forgot to bring up before because it leads to the same kind of thing. It's almost the same shot. When Wendy brings Jack his breakfast in bed early on in the movie, the way the camera shoots it, it's like we're looking at Jack in bed, but then we suddenly pull back and we realize we're seeing the reflection of him in the mirror.
So fucking good.
That's still good Jack.
Yeah.
Good Jack is in the mirror. Bad Jack is next door on the bed.
That's so good, dude.
When we see this scene, starts with we're seeing Jack, bad Jack in bed. When we cut to seeing Danny walk in the room, I just want to get my fire engine. Good Jack is in the mirror, looks over, come here, buddy, come here. Good Jack is calling him there. Finally sits on bad Jack's lap. Now we know.
I'm getting chills.
And again, mirrors are the evil. Mirrors are trying to be good because everything is good in the hotel till the mirrors happen. Oh, look, red room, all of a sudden fucking murder.
Yeah, there's mirrors everywhere in this hotel, and one of the best scenes where the mirror comes into play is he's walking, and it's later, but he's walking down the hall towards the gold room, and every time he passes a mirror, he
freaks out right as he passes it.
Every time, and it's literally every single time he passes a mirror, he does that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just, to me, it's saying, like there's the old superstition that mirrors lets spirits in and out of the other worlds. So
it's the good versus evil.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're battling every time he passes the mirror.
Exactly.
And what's behind Lloyd? Big fucking mirror.
Yep.
Huge mirror.
What
what's in the red bathroom?
The
Huge
red
mirrors.
bathroom full of mirrors.
Yep.
Keeps checking the mirror to look at the caretaker, but he's really looking at himself.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Oh man, I'm so glad you brought that up because it is fucking, again, it's chilling. It's chilling.
Yes.
And it's just another layer in this multi-layered movie. So Danny approaches room 237 and Jack is having a nightmare about killing his family. So again, a lot of times these two are connected when the Shining is happening. It's like it's happening simultaneously. And this has happened almost since the very first attack Danny has looking in the bathroom in his apartment where Jack is getting the news. They are linked, man. There is a neural link going on there. Danny shows up with injuries to his neck. This is where the horror movie begins. Would you agree, Tony? Like, this is it. After the bruises on the neck, like, this is where it's like, we're there.
No, I think it already started.
Okay.
The twins brought it up to me
no.
personally.
Well, maybe.
I see why you say that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's where Jack really becomes the monster, like, to be feared.
We're hitting the gas now.
Yeah. We get the scene at the bar where Jack is talking to Lloyd, the bartender. And I submit here that this is really where Jack slips into the same dimension as Danny, where he now can see the dead, the past, the future, and the present time. He is now stuck between dimensions and seeing everything all at the same time. And I just think that's so fucking great. And what Delin was alluding to here is, Jack, Wendy tells the doctor, Jack, the incident with the arm happened 5 months earlier and he had been sober for 5 months now. And she says, okay, so they go to the hotel. Jack tells Lloyd it's been 3 years. So I didn't know if that was something that just slipped past the director. Maybe it was,
There's no way. There's no way it slipped past.
Yeah, but
Kubrick.
I racked my brain. I couldn't figure out why 5 months to 3 years, like what that time skip meant.
When you become sober, every day is a year.
Oh yeah.
Well, when I was watching something about The Shining, one of the things that they were talking about was Tom Cruise reported that when they were filming Eyes Wide Shut, on his downtime, Kubrick was still editing The Shining.
Yeah.
Like he was going back and re-editing, and it was like this thing, he couldn't let it go. And I mean, yeah, that might be a little bit creepy and a little bit weird, but the fact that he thought there was more work to be done, and maybe someday in the future we'll get like a 4-hour Kubrick cut.
And you know what? It would suck, just like when they re-released Star Wars with fucking I don't want it.
The ball rolling towards Danny. Fucking disturbing. He's sitting there playing with his cars on the little rug that we all love, the iconic design, and perfectly centered after the 60th take, the ball lands where it needs to go. And it's quiet. There's no soundtrack. There's no high-pitched sound. It's nothing. It's just, here's this thing that shouldn't be there, is now there. And he looks up, and the door's cracked open. I have this thing again. This is why it affects me. I have a thing with hallways. I turn on the lights to every hallway I go down because I don't like something at the end of the hallway seeing me that I can't see. If there's doorways on the side, I'm closing those fucking doors as I'm going by because I don't need things jumping out. So this scene literally terrifies me that there's a hallway full of doors and one's now open that shouldn't be open
Tony,
and something came out.
I don't
So
know how you live in a house, okay? I have a recurring dream where I'm in a house and I try to lock every door and every window like something's trying to get in. Dude, do you know how easy it would be somebody to get into your house through a basement window while you're in bed and a home invasion happens? Yeah.
I'm in the basement now and I have full windows over
Listen, I couldn't sleep. We have a condo and our condo's on the second floor. There's no way into this place. I installed a power lock on our door that locks from the inside that can withstand 800 pounds of pressure. I have a lock on my bedroom door upstairs that I sleep in alone because Delyn lives downstairs and I live upstairs. And I can't sleep if that's not locked. I have a weapon by my bed. Home invasion for me, I could never, if somebody gave me a house, Des, it's a $500,000 house, you can live in it. You know what? No, I'd never get sleep. Sorry.
So
Sorry.
no, that's okay. We are sharing tonight.
We are. It's a big night for me.
He's very traumatized by this movie.
This movie fucked me up.
But I mean, that's the hallway scene of that. Again, Kubrick's use of music in his editing, and just the fact he had nothing there. And that's why I love it. Things that could be a jump scare aren't.
Yeah.
He doesn't rely on it. He relies on
Doesn't
the
need
grit.
it. He doesn't need it. Did you notice that when the ball rolls towards him, you know how the pattern is on the rug? It's like a long piece, and then it's the
It stopped perfectly.
Well, it goes down that middle, but when you go to, it shows the door, and then it goes back to him. It's now not that. It's not the line. Like there's no line in front of him all of a sudden. And again, like you said, he's not doing any of that. Like that's not a mistake.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means, but I watched it because I watched like a whole video about Easter eggs and stuff like that. And that was one of the things they talked about. And I was like, that's fucking weird. Like I can't quite understand why he'd make that choice. But I think like it almost goes back to the whole thing about being in different dimensions at the same time.
That's the thing is the hotel pulled him in because now the door's open, the evil's there. He's in that dimension now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kubrick put him in the USA rocket because he filmed the moon landings, but we won't get into that.
Yeah,
whole
I said
conspiracy.
that the Apollo 11 shirt.
The Apollo 11.
It's his confession right there.
Right.
You know,
I love that.
I have to say, the Lloyd scene, the ping pong between those two, the emotionless face of Lloyd,
Lloyd is terrifying.
You couldn't cast someone better. Like I guess Harry Dean Stanton was supposed to be that character, but he couldn't because he was filming Alien. I am so glad he wouldn't because this guy is so perfect at just the no emotion.
Yeah.
No emotion.
Yeah.
You know who would have been great? The guy who played Tyrell would have been great for that part as well.
Is it him? I mean, because it seems like the same guy.
Oh, is it? No.
I'll look it
Maybe.
up. Go, keep going.
Right. I mean, I'm skipping the whole like Wendy freaking out, blaming Jack for the whole thing, and Jack just like the look on his face is like, how the fuck did I get here? Again, that's the henpecked husband.
Yeah.
He's like, well, how? Like, I didn't do anything. Like, why again? He's done so much wrong. The one time he actually didn't do it, he's getting blamed anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just poking the bear at this point.
Yes.
Just so you know, that is the man that played Tyrell.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. He would have been perfect for the part.
Because he was.
Thought he looked familiar.
Jack cautiously enters room 237 and proceeds to the bathroom. He watches as a young, beautiful, naked woman pulls back the shower curtain and steps out of the bathtub. The two approach each other and embrace in a passionate kiss. Jack catches a glimpse of their reflection in the mirror and sees the woman is actually an old woman rotting and sagging. He recoils in horror. She cackles madly, chasing him out of the room. He escapes and locks the door behind him. When he reports back to Wendy, Jack denies anything amiss in room 237 because he's a total dickhead. Wendy suggests that they take Danny to a doctor. Jack becomes irate, blaming Wendy for everything that's ever gone wrong in his life, and he refuses to leave while Danny is having extreme visions of blood and murder in his room. Jack storms out, returning to the Gold Room, which is now the scene of an extravagant party with guests dressed in 1920s fashion. Jack strolls through the crowd, but he doesn't get far when a butler spills drinks on him. The butler convinces Jack to come to the bathroom to clean up. The butler introduces himself as Delbert Grady. Jack confronts him about being the former caretaker. Grady denies that anything of the sort took place and insists that Jack has always been the caretaker. Grady goes on to tell Jack that Danny has a great talent and he's using it to bring an outside party into the situation, referring to Dick Halloran with a racial slur. Grady advises Jack on how to correct Danny and how to deal with Wendy if she interferes. So this is a lot to take on, but I do want to pause for a moment and just talk about the sets, especially room 237. It's infamous for being scary, but I'm looking around going, I fucking love that carpet. I love that fucking couch. I was like, the bathroom is so
Purple, the
fucking
green.
sick. It's so cool.
The second I saw that scene, the first thing that popped into my mind was I'd be staying in there for the entire time. Yeah,
it's so cool.
awesome.
And then, of course, you get the red bathroom in the ballroom. It's so striking. He's so masterful in creating these super eye-catching sets that are like burned into your retinas, right? And the sets say just as much as the dialogue. The movie is not disappointing in that at all. But to me, this is also, not only is it supposed to dazzle you with how beautiful it is and the bright colors, and I mean, this whole movie is very bright besides being scary, but it's also intended to confuse you, if you ask me, because it's like, whoa, that's a bright bathroom. Like, oh shit, like, look at this room. Like, it's confusing you. It's distracting you, right? And I find that interesting.
So in this segment, I'm going to blow all your minds, okay? Including Tony's. I'm going to blow all your fucking minds. And this just came out of my own fucking psyche, and it is so fucking dead balls on. But anyway, so Jack enters room 237. And Tony, this is where I feel like Danny, Dick, and Jack are all sharing this experience through The Shining at the exact same time. They are all privy to what is going on here. I feel like that's what they're both watching when they're freaking out, is Jack finally coming together with the demon of the fucking Shining.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
I agree. Because this is the first time in the soundtrack we hear the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the heart of the hotel. This is the heart of the evil.
So
this is where room 237 is, where the evil originated. It's where the soul is. So the heartbeat totally says this is where we are.
He is now
and
possessed.
It keeps going until he exits the room, and then it stops.
Yes.
So that's why. I noticed it last night. I'm like, I'm writing this shit down. I never picked up on it. It's the first time we hear that part of the soundtrack, not the last time. Once everything starts going to shit, we hear it a lot more because it's getting stronger and stronger, and the hotel is now winning.
Oh, so
but this is the first time and it starts slow. It's a slow rhythm until Jack gets in the bathroom, and it gets louder because his heart is racing. The heart is now excited because there's my target. There's what I've been wanting. Let's get Jack in here.
Yeah.
And let's win him over.
Oh, dude, it's fucking the best. It's the best. And I'm not going to shine over the incredible, I mean, stunning bush on this actress. I mean,
I'm glad you did it and I didn't.
God.
It's impossible. She turns sideways. It looks like a huge dick. It's so big. My God. This thing is like out there. She's going to have a tub and it's still that big.
I just wanted to just put my face in it.
God love you, late 70s.
Okay. So we get this scene of Danny laying in bed and he sees the iconic red rum written on the door. But we, the viewer, have not yet been treated to seeing this in the mirror, right? And I try to imagine seeing this for the first time in 1980 when none of that was iconic. Nobody had ever heard of red rum. What did that say? What did that say? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, so great. That's one of those things like when you're writing a song and you come up with a line, you're like, oh, wait till they hear this. When he did the red rum thing, he was like, he got a little wood in his pants. Like, oh, I'm so good. That's so fucking clever. Amazing. So next, all right. So this is where I'm gonna blow your minds in this segment, but it starts off here. So next we get the scene in the red bathroom, and this always freaked me out because there was an all pink bathroom at the Oppenheimer, which I hated going into. It was so weird. It was all pink. Everything was pink. Toilets were pink. There was like this black and white pink, like weird dog thing in the corner, like a porcelain statue thing. It was pink and black. It was so fucking weird. I never wanted to go near this bathroom. It was right off the kitchen. Fuck no. And finally, Jack talks to Grady in the bathroom. And this is where the hotel turns Jack fully against his family, right? And here's where I'm going to blow your minds. So I start getting the vibe of a movie that came out in 1978 called Star Wars. Here we have Danny Skywalker and Jack Vader, the father, using the dark side of the Shining, and Dick Kenobi, the wise old Shine Master, who inevitably sacrifices himself via strike from an axe saber from the evil father, Jack Vader, to the chest to get Danny Skywalker away safe. Dude, this is fucking Star Wars in the Force. You got the good side of the Force. You got the bad side of the Force. You got the wise old Jet. You got the father. You got the son. This is fucking Star Wars. This is the Force.
Tony checked out.
Tony, come on.
No,
Come on.
no,
Yes, you
no.
know it. Search your feelings, Tony. You know it to be true.
no, not buying it.
Guys, listen.
I will always jump on your bandwagon, but this one I'm like, no.
All right, guys, I would like you, the listeners, to write in if you're not seeing the comparisons here between Danny, Jack, and Dick, and fucking Luke, Obi-Wan, and Darth Vader. It is the exact same, and they all have the Shining, which is the Force. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I just dropped the mic in my studio.
Anyway.
God, we'll pick it back up.
Okay,
You
Tony,
need to
go ahead.
finish.
Talk about this movie, not the weird Star Wars Shining movie that I've given you all.
The gold room scene, again, shouldn't be happening, but it is. And it's, Jack is so at home in it.
Mm.
He's bouncing around, he's getting his drink, he's talking to Laura, he's eating peanuts, everything is good with his life. And again, because maybe I'm just the age I am, maybe because I know what it signifies and what it means, it shouldn't be there. It's scary. Like,
Yeah.
it's dumb to say that. Just this scene of a roaring 20s party is scary. Something about the 20s music always freaks me out anyway.
So weird, man.
It just creeps me out. But having that there is just the scenes. The older I get, the more bothersome these scenes get to me, because it just shows dementia, it shows insanity, and it shows how easily you can slip into it and be part of it and live in it.
Tony, 20s music, that's what you hear 1 second before the lollipop kids fucking murder you with fucking kitchen knives.
With a lollipop kids.
Exactly. Again, to echo everybody else, the red bathroom, gorgeous scene, quiet scene, very, very back and forth, very, the timing, the line deliveries, watching Jack's face, the confusion, because it's Nicholson. He's a fucking master of his craft. He's just like, yeah, I know who you are. It's almost like he's drunk already off of his half drink, because the hotel is affecting him. He's like, you were the caretaker here. He's like, I know. It's like, once the realization happens, you see the confusion turn to fear, turn to acceptance, turn to maliciousness.
Yes.
Like, in 5 seconds, every emotion comes out, and it's gorgeous. Like, I can't gush enough about Nicholson in this movie. And again, the influences that this movie has had, I don't know if, I know we haven't reviewed it yet, it's been on our list for a while. The Substance. There's so many shots from The Substance, the hallway scenes, the bathroom scenes. They stole so much from The Shining. It was just, especially the red bathroom scene. It's in The Substance, so we'll get to that later. But again, you're right, Delaney. Just Kubrick dressing these scenes as opposed to the dull hallways. Then you get this explosion of color once you go into room 237. The boring room, all of a sudden the gold room lights up. Then it's a flash bathroom. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the scene where Jack is going into the gold ballroom from the hallway, and the camera is set up from a side view. So you see the hallway and the camera kind of follows Jack, and then we come into the ballroom.
Cuts to black.
I always thought it would have been fun if he had been wearing a tuxedo when he came through the other side of the door and was no longer in his street clothes. I thought it was a missed opportunity. It might have been too obvious, but I thought it would have been
I
cool.
always expected to go black and white.
Or black and white with him in a suit.
Right.
You know, but it's fine the way it was. It was kind of nice seeing the contrast of his 80s clothes I should call them 70s clothes next to the 20s. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, that outfit Wendy wears at the beginning of the movie with the like blue check with the red. That's 70s all day. That is not 80s.
With the red leggings.
And the fucking little boots.
Also, she has this weird stitch thing when she goes to talk to people on the radio.
Yes.
It's almost like handmade.
It's Native American.
She's not allowed to have an allowance, so she has to make her own clothes. Because
It's Native American in design, though. If you look at it, there's little teepees and stuff on it, and that kind of goes along with like dead Indian burial ground.
I was
And
gonna say,
then
we haven't even talked
Yeah.
about that.
I
Indian burial
know,
ground
I
like
know.
part
And the
of it, yeah.
whole mural in the big Colorado room is all Native American, and he was throwing a ball at it.
Yes.
And it's like very
Aggressively.
disrespectful of that.
Aggressively.
Yeah, aggressively. And honestly, they say that's the same ball that rolls to Danny in the hallway,
Mm.
which,
And it's the same one in the deleted endings, but we'll get to that later.
All right.
Yeah, she was
okay.
making clothes out of like old Afghans and stuff. Fucking poor thing.
Back in Florida, Dick has no luck contacting the people at the Overlook Hotel. Unbeknownst to him, Jack has sabotaged the radio. Worried about Danny, he books the next flight to Colorado. At the Overlook, Wendy arms herself with a baseball bat and looks for Jack. Entering the lounge, she spots Jack's manuscript. She reads what Jack has been writing. Hundreds of pages of repetitions of the single sentence, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. She realizes Jack has gone quite mad. Jack approaches from behind, surprising her. Wendy retreats, brandishing the bat. Jack promises he will not hurt her. He's just going to kill her. Wendy hits him on the head with the bat at the top of the flight of stairs, sending him tumbling back down. She locks him in the pantry and realizes he's disabled the radio and Snowcat. A few hours later, Jack is roused from a nap by the sound of Delbert Grady's voice. Grady expresses disappointment and a lack of confidence in Jack, but Jack assures him he can get the job done if he's given one more chance. The pantry door then suddenly opens. So one thing I noticed is when you look at the pantry door, when you're inside it, the little push thing to get out is on one side of the door. But when he's pressed against it, yelling at Wendy, the push thing is on the other side of the door, and that's impossible. So I'm not sure why that is, but I noticed it. Again, the score here, amazing. That confrontation with Wendy and Jack, that eerie, prickly music, the drawn out minor chords, the distended piano, the jarring violins. It's adding this tension to this tight dialogue and this great acting. Shelley Duvall is so gangly and distraught in this scene. It's so amazing, but I know that she did hundreds of takes of this and she was probably fucking exhausted at this point. And again, Jack uses this argument about his responsibilities, and he's literally done nothing at this point. I know them harping on something that ultimately doesn't matter, but it was so unhinged because he literally has done nothing but just fucking go crazy in the Colorado room. I can't even with him.
So Jack here, this is a scene that would be chilling in a psychological thriller that had nothing to do with The Shining. So it's the moment when Jack disables the radio in the Snowcat. He's decided to go through with the murder. Like, this is, the maniac has decided, I'm going to do this. It's happening now. Like, there's no escaping. I'm cutting this fucking machine up. It's fucking chilling. I fucking love this scene. Dick calls Larry from the airport to use the Snowcat. I immediately recognize this guy as Apollo Creed's trainer from Rocky.
Rocky, totally, yeah.
So fucking good. I was like, holy shit.
Throw the damn towel,
Throw
man.
the damn towel, man. He died. If he dies, he dies. So this whole sequence, starting with Wendy reading Jack's novel to her knocking him out and locking him in the freezer, this is all really just, it's as good as it gets. For such a tight sequence of shots. And the on-screen chemistry here between the two on the stairs, this is incredible. Shelley DeLong's portrayal of fear and panic, it was hypnotizing. I was 100% under the spell of the actors in the movie at this time. She looks, I was saying to Dylan, she looks like you're scared at that point where your arms are shaking so much you don't have control. Like, she barely could swing the bat. It was fucking really, really good. And finally, when Grady makes the deal with Jack to let him out of the locker by basically egging him on and calling him a pussy, you don't have control of this. You don't have control of your family. I don't know if you are fucking able to take out Wendy. She's got the best of you now. And he makes him agree to kill his family. Like, let's make a deal. Kill your family. I'll let you out of the locker. It's fucking crazy, Tony.
Well, I mean, that's the only unexplainable thing about the whole movie. And that's what, me and my buddies used to talk about all the time when we'd like sit and go over this movie a bunch of times, is that everything else could be attributed to someone's imagination or someone made shit up in their head and lost their mind. There's no way he got out of that without someone letting him out. Simple as that. Yes. Unless, again, Danny wandered down and did it out of his own mind, whatever. But outside of that, it's the only proof of any supernatural spectral kind of thing going on. Everything else could have been inside of Jack's mind, hallucinating, freaking out, whatever. So, I mean, that, again, the scenes are just, you never see him. You just hear Delbert on the other side. That's what I love about it.
Yes.
Is it him? Is it not? But again, there's no way to get out without him there. Wendy and him in the reading the note, her going through the pages. Imagine seeing that for the first time in 1980.
Insane.
I
Like,
would have shit my pants.
Insane.
do you no? But that's the thing. Like, do you? I hate to say it's like, do you laugh? It's like, what the fuck is this? Or does it terrify you so much?
Terrified.
I feel it's terrifying because the music is slowly amping up, and it's not a jump scare.
Nope.
Granted, she jumps when he speaks because she's so involved in it, but it could be used as a jump scare, but it never was.
It's a psychological scare.
Yeah, it is, because it's showing how gone he is. The fact that was a deck. And the thing is, because you've seen it so many times, every time they show him typing, you're going, ALL space
Yeah.
JACK. You're trying to like see, is he really typing? And he was.
Well,
Every time they did it.
this is how I would imagine a host, like in an alien movie, would be acting when it wasn't being used by the alien. You know, he's meant to just sit there and look like he's busy. Don't raise a red
Yeah.
flag, right? You just look like you're writing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, and just the fucking the back and forth with the 65 to 100 takes of this, her having to keep crying, basically just mentally breaking her.
Yeah.
And Nicholson just spitting out his lines at her, chewing the scenery with it, taunting her, mocking her. It's as vicious as you can get without physically hitting somebody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He is so degrading. He's so vicious to her. And just finally admits it. He didn't let me finish. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. I'm going to bash them right the fuck in. And that's terrifying because he looks like her husband at that point. He's calm. He says it to her. He isn't screaming at her.
Right.
He says it to her.
So matter of fact, break your fucking head, baby.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
You know, just
yeah, and
yeah.
it's not Grady that opens that freezer door. It's the hotel is a living being. Grady's just part of its illusion. It just opens the door. Just pop, it's open. That's it. That's how I saw it.
I mean, Jack in the freezer screaming at Wendy like, "Go check it out!" It's like he's masterclass. Fucking just go. He's so good.
Yeah, yeah. It was one of his best performances, if not his best performance ever. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some good ones.
Wendy has fallen asleep while Danny is in a trance, muttering red rum repeatedly. He writes red rum on the bathroom door. He begins shouting red rum, which wakes up Wendy. She sees the reflection of the bathroom door in the mirror, and reversed, it reads murder. At that instant, Jack is at the door, swinging an axe at the locked door. Wendy grabs Danny and locks them in the bathroom. She opens a tiny window and pushes him out. She tries to get out as well, but she cannot fit. She tells Danny to run and hide. Meanwhile, Jack is inside the suite. Wendy holds the knife and tries to hide as Jack begins chopping into the door. Making a hole, he sticks his head through and screams the iconic, "Here's Johnny!" Jack sticks his hand through the door to turn the lock. Wendy slashes at him with a knife, cutting Jack's hand and sending him recoiling. The sound of the approaching snowcat stops him in his tracks, and he leaves. The snowcat driver is Dick. He's attacked by Jax with an axe as soon as he enters the hotel, essentially. Danny leaves his hiding spot and runs outside with Jack in pursuit. Meanwhile, Wendy is searching for Danny. The hotel has sprung to life now, and now even Wendy is encountering its ghosts, sights that shock and horrify her. At the same time, the axe-wielding Jack turns on the outdoor lights and follows Danny out into the hedge maze. Danny carefully covers his footprints in the snow and hides behind a hedge. When Jack arrives, he's got no clue as to which direction Danny has taken. He chooses a path and lurches deeper into the maze. Danny comes out of his hiding spot and follows his own footprints back to the maze's entrance. Wendy finds Danny just as he emerges from the maze. Danny and Wendy escape in the snowcat that Dick used to get to the hotel. Jack, hopelessly lost in the maze, freezes to death. Right before the end credits, the camera slowly zooms in on a wall in the hotel full of photographs that chronicle the hotel's history. In the center of one picture is a young Jack, and the caption reads, "Overlook Hotel, July 4th Ball, 1921. So how do you even get into discussing this movie and this ending? Because there's so much, and there's so many different ways that you can take it depending on how you view this movie. Danning, exceedingly clever beyond his years in the maze. Wendy seeing the most horrific things that one can imagine, and her instinct is just to get Danny and run no matter what. And poor Dick that brought his Carhartt jacket to an axe fight. And I forgot the user's name, so forgive me, but they took a screenshot of Jack's frozen in the maze face, and they overlaid it with the screenshot of him taking his first drink back in the gold room, and it's the exact same face. And again, not sure if this was intentional or not, but I think it points to one of the subplots that I think is happening here with people, the danger of drinking and alcoholism. You know, I mean, obviously that is a different point altogether, but it is part of what is Jack's downfall. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, the fact that alcohol and tobacco are legal and weed it was illegal for so long just tells you the government doesn't care about your health, okay, or your family. Okay, so it's time for the final acts. Oh
But
God,
Ching.
somebody fucking do me in. So I'm just gonna break this down in one long, quick little rant. Long and quick, that's an oxymoron. So we're gonna get so many tasty, iconic scenes here in the final run. We get the red rum reveal in the mirror to say murder. We get Jack chopping through the door saying, "Here's Johnny." We get the brutal killing of Dick with the axe to the chest. We get Wendy finally slipping into the shining dimension and seeing all the different ghosts. Then we get this iconic chase through the maze. Then we get the bloody elevator doors. Then we get the shot of Jack frozen in the maze. And finally, the black and white picture from the ball, July 4th, 1921. I mean, this is as good and as power packed as you're going to get a last 20 minutes of a movie. It's fucking on, but dude, he hit magic on top of magic on. It's a triple layer chocolate fucking cake, and every layer is delicious. It's fucking, it's movie porn.
And it's happened so fast too. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like it doesn't let up. And like Tony said earlier, he puts his foot on the pedal, but here's where he literally pushes the pedal all the way down to the floor.
Yeah, and it's like in most movies like this, you could pick one of those and be like, "Oh, that was the money shot." You know, the maze was the money shot, or the elevator doors was the money shot, or Jack frozen. I mean, in the thing, that's the money shot, or his face sticking through the door. How many fucking times have you seen that tattooed on somebody? This is how many moments Kubrick caught at the end of it. He caught magic and lightning in a jar like 5 times in a row, Tony.
I mean, he had so many different rewrites and scripts and refilms and takes. He had to catch them all, you know, and it just shows the method to his madness totally paid off. You know, he literally brought insanity to the set, and it worked every single time. At the sacrifice of his crew and cast. You know, so many people refused to work with him ever again after this movie.
Yeah,
rightfully so. I mean, the things I kept reading as I was researching is Scatman and Crothers literally broke down on set so many times, along with Shelley Duvall. What was the one I read that his next role after this was in Bronco Billy with Clint Eastwood, and when they told him it was only a 2-taker, he literally started crying on the set, going, "That's all you want from me? You don't need more?" Like, he was so traumatized by like the 3 weeks he was on the set for this movie and did so many hundreds of takes. It's like, it's insanity. But he got everything he wanted out of everybody in that movie, and it shows on the screen. I mean, it's fucking beautiful. Shit, where do you to go back? Jack breaking through the door again, scary as hell because of Shelley Duvall. It's one thing to see a man with an axe. That's terrifying. Shelley Duvall's frantic, trying to put the screen up, can't get through it. Her face, her gasping, Danny clutching her, which is what kids do when they're terrified. She can't move because he's literally latched to her leg.
Yeah.
It's like, it was everything that would happen in real life in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to like, go save yourself. Save your kid before you save yourself. That's what happened. And he slides down, and him looking up at her, like waiting, like, "Mommy, come on." And she can't get through. It's like, holy fuck, that's awful.
Dick Halloran saves her life. He doesn't show up, she's toast.
Right.
Yes.
And, you know, Halloran showing up, takes the axe to the chest. It was so out of nowhere and unceremoniously. It was such a, it was almost a waste, because it's like, even though there was a buildup of the slow walk down the hallway, it was like, "Hey, I'm here to save the day." Oh, fuck, it's over. All right.
Yeah.
Like, well, let's move on. But it had its purpose. You know, he had to die. He had to bring the snowcat, and he had to show how Jack was finally crossed the line by actually killing someone.
Yes.
With the snow maze, Jesus Christ, iconic. Again, blue light, styrofoam, salt falling everywhere.
Unbelievable.
Everything about this scene, him screaming, out of breath, the wailing, and just Danny just chugging, like, and the camera barely keeping up with him. Like he was motoring through that maze, and the camera's just swinging with him. It's like I don't know how he knew which way to go, as an actor, not as the character. The character, we're like, oh, what a smart kid. No, that was the adult Danny telling him, this is how you're getting out of
I'm
this.
glad you brought that up because Delyn and I were watching this and we actually said that was this the decision of a little boy to backtrack and cover his prints or of an adult helping him escape this maniac. And you're
Right.
saying yes.
Because he was Tony up until red rum, and he came back.
Yeah.
Because Tony finally said, I'm out of here. You need to help your mother. I can't do it. She's not responding to me because I'm still in the dimension.
Right.
You need to go back to real world and get her out, get her up and out.
So good.
Yep.
But yeah, when Wendy goes into the other dimension and the skeletons and the fucking blowjob bear and the fucking lovely party, all terrifying because you didn't know what you were going to run into on the next turn. And she's seeing all of it. And imagine being in a place you're not supposed to be seeing anything. And this is what you're like, oh my God. Like it's like if I went upstairs, there's no one home right now. If I went upstairs and there was someone in my kitchen, I'd lose my shit.
You'd love it.
Yeah.
You'd love it. You'd be like, finally, I'm in a horror movie. This is great. Tony, but what was really clever about that scene, deciding to bring Wendy into the dimension is I feel like without that, she might have opted to stay there once Jack was lost in the maze. And, she stays in the snowcat. He freezes. Fine. We're safe. We're going to ride the storm out in the hotel and then we'll escape when the weather breaks. But that's not an option now. She cannot go back into that hotel, not for food and water. I mean, they're about to take a trek in that Arctic cat that could turn bad if they got stranded, but she cannot go back for supplies. She cannot go back into that hotel.
I think when she saw, Dick dead on the floor, surrounded and covered in blood, it's like, there's another reason right there. But yeah, you're right. I think that all of this, the hotel was basically saying, you're not welcome here anymore. You're done.
Yeah. Nice chandelier, nice kitchen. Get out. Too bad we can't stay, baby. Let's go.
I mean, I also feel like this is a way that, and I got to be honest with you, I'm not really sure about what happens with Wendy and Danny later, because I only passingly watched Dr. Sleep. But she knows a little bit more, I think, about what he has seen. Like, it's not said, but like, I feel like this connects her to her son a little bit better too.
Well, you have to wonder if this is the first time she's experienced The Shining,
Yes.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But that's what's great about this movie. We could watch this movie, do this podcast again, probably be a different conversation. Tony would agree with me about the Star Wars thing.
That's still that one. Okay.
That's still a no.
All right. So is that it? Have we broken down The Shining?
We've broken it down.
Okay.
That's it.
Hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. I know I enjoyed watching it and discussing it. It was a pleasure this time. Let's head over to the recasting couch. I will get us started. I am going to replace two characters in this movie. I am going to replace Jack Nicholson with Gary Oldman because I think he could play a great Jack.
That's good.
That is good. Gary Oldman would be good. And and then the obvious, I'm going to replace Katniss Struthers with Lou Gossett Jr. I mean, there it is. There's my fucking recast. Tony, what do you got?
Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with one of the original suggestions that was up for Jack Nicholson's role was Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
They actually said that because Simon Morgan, he's like, oh, he'll never be able to do serious. But we know now, after Dead Poet Society, after What Dreams May Come, watching him and what is it?
My favorite one is the one with him and Al Pacino up in Alaska where he's the killer.
Insomnia.
I thought he was great.
I mean, there's Death to Smoochie, and what's the 1 hour photo?
Yes.
1 hour photo. Oh my God, 1 hour photo was so scary.
We could see him now pulling that off. I would love to see him with the baseball scene, like the baseball bat scene. Like, oh my God, the fact that there are deep fakes out there in a bunch of these scenes. I don't know if you've seen them with Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Someone put Jim Carrey in it. It's fucking, he's terrifying with it.
Yeah.
So I would actually second that as well. So, I mean, those are the ones I got, but I mean, come on.
Cool.
This is Jack's movie.
Delyn.
So I recast Danny with young Leonardo DiCaprio.
Sure.
Like What's Eating Gilbert Grape age, a little younger. I feel like he could have pulled it off really well.
Yeah. Works.
I can see that.
It works. All right, so that's it. Let's head over to the alternate endings. Jack's a dull boy. Jack's a dull boy. I've been writing all night, guys.
As if we'd end the movie like that. Yeah.
Let's do the Scooby-Doo ending.
Good call.
Okay, here's my alternate ending. The movie ends just the way we see it in the movie, but in my ending, it fades to black. We hear a typewriter tapping away as the camera closes in on Jack sitting at his desk, typing the final page of his novel. He pulls the page from his typewriter and places the page face down on the stack of paper that makes up his new novel. He flips the stack over and places it into a box and places the cover on the box. The label reads, The Shining by Jack Torrance. This has all been him writing the novel all along in that room. No one ever died, and we were privy to it. Thank you. It was very good. Thank you.
That's good.
It's very good.
That's good.
Tony, did you write something?
No, because I can't improve this movie. I know it sucks because the last three to five movies we've done, they're like my favorite movies. So I can't shit on these.
Yeah,
Not that
it's
you
hard to
guys
rewrite
do,
this.
But I want the original ending. I want to see the original ending with Ullman going to visit her, Shelley Duvall in the hospital, and sitting down with her and saying, apologizing and saying to come visit him, and the last scene is him handing Danny the ball.
Right.
And walking away, and Danny just standing there with the ball in his hand. I need to see that before I die.
See,
it's got to be in some vault somewhere.
In my ending, Danny and Wendy come into the room as he's putting the cover on the box, says The Shining, and there's a big hug, and it's a happy ending.
They need to be outside playing on the lawn, and Richard Dreyfuss needs to walk outside and say he'll never have family like that, like he did when he was 10. That's great.
So, Lynn, did you rewrite it?
I did.
Okay.
So when Danny runs from the encroaching Jack, he finds Dick before Jack does. Danny and Dick join hands and use the powers of their combined shining to call in the spirits in the hotel. Grady, the twins, their mother, the woman from the bathtub, all the people from the ballroom. They all converge on the approaching Jack, tearing him to pieces for failing to give them Danny. Danny, Wendy, and Dick leave in the snowcat, and we still get the picture of Jack at the ball. He's always been there, and he'll continue to be there.
Oh, I like that.
All right, nice job this week.
It's very Dr. Sleep, but that's good. I like that.
It's like Lynn did her homework this week. She didn't want to give the trophy up to the kid. Nice job, everybody. Good job on The Shining. I think we really gave this movie what it deserved tonight.
We did. We needed to do that.
Yeah, let's do some rewatch scores and we'll sack this thing. So, this is one of those bulletproof movies for me. Casting brilliant, storytelling amazing, scene iconic images. It's tattooed on people everywhere to this very day. It's a true classic. If I could give it more than 5, I would, but 5 is the limit. So that's what I'm giving it. Tony.
There are a few movies that I say are perfect. There's actually only 3 in my lifetime that I'll say are perfect, and this is one of them. It's one of the few movies I collect items from. I collect anything I can find about it because, again, layer on layer on layer of interpretation. Even no matter how outlandish they are, the fact that a movie could inspire so much inspiration, so much creativity, so much interpretation is a testament to how amazing this movie is and how well it was made, how well it was written, how well it was acted, everything about it. I'll never stop watching it at least once to twice a year. So it's a perfect 5 for me.
Yeah, it's a leave on. It's a leave on anytime you stumble across it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look at it this way. I am now inspired to go watch Room 237. I'm inspired to look up more. I mean, normally when I'm through with a movie, I'm through with it. Like, and even if I love it, I'll go back and watch it, but I'm not gonna start digging into minutia and trivia about it. And I'm not only not done with this movie, I'm looking to have more. So you can't give it anything other than a 5.
Are you going to go back and revisit Dr. Sleep now?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
It's right next to me on the table. Yeah.
Yeah. It was literally one of those things where I was like, I need more of all of this. That's what I'm doing here.
All right. Well, tell us what the rare air is shared here at the top of the Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie? Mo.
All right. The list grows, but honestly, I think that it's all with ones that are worthy-ish. It shared the number 1 spot with The Matrix, the original Star Wars, Beverly Hills Cop, Galaxy Quest, Lethal Weapon 4, The Thing, Ghostbusters, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Jaws.
Those movies are all fucking kick-ass. They're all kick-ass.
Yeah, they really
And
are.
I know Tony's kind of like, Beverly Hills Cop, but anybody that's into that genre of movies, it's fucking, it's balls off, man. It's
classic. It's a classic.
Okay.
The old banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah, exactly. The old banana in the tailpipe. Billy, it's an anti-banana disguise. Okay. On our sister podcast, Violent Vinyl Radio, we will be breaking down White Zombies, La Sexorcist, Devil Music, Volume 1. So be looking out for that. And remember, get over to that merch store and get yourself a t-shirt. That Reservoir Dogs one is actually very cool. So there you go. Until next time, I just have one question for you. Hey, did you ever see that movie? See you next time.